types and approaches to assessment. There are different types and approaches to state assessment. The first one is formative and summative assessment. When the cook tastes the soup, that is formative assessment. When the customer tastes the soup, that is summative assessment. What we can understand from here is formative assessment is done when the program is still going on, and summative assessment it is done when the at the end of the program. Formative assessment. Formative assessment is concerned with judgment made during the design and or development of a program, which is directed towards modifying, forming, or otherwise improving the program before it is completed. So this definition is given by A.Z. Nitko in the year 1983. So formative assessment is concerned with judgment made during the design. Means when the program is still going on, formative assessment is done. So why it is done when the program is going on? So that if there is a need to modify, then they will modify before the program ends. And in this way it can improve the program before it gets completed. Purposes of formative assessment. The first point is to monitor the learning progress of the students during the period of instructions. Means here whether they will monitor like how much the student understand or made a progress in during the period of instruction. The next point is its main objective is to provide continuous feedback to both the teachers and students. So by making assessment, the teachers will come to know whether the teaching is effective or not, whether the teaching methods or the audiovisual aids are effective or not, and even students also, like whether the students is making any progress. All these things will come to know after doing the formative assessment. Uses of formative assessment. To improve instructional methods, like instructional methods are those lecture or demonstration. Like with formative assessment it will help to improve the instructional methods. To identify the levels of cognitive process of students, like how much the student can understand and learn from the teaching learning activities, and determine the feasibility of a program within the classroom setting, and determine to a great extent the outcome of summative evaluation. From by doing formative assessment, we'll get a rough idea about we'll get a rough idea about the outcome of the summative evaluation. Summative assessment. Summative assessment describes judgment about the merits of an already completed program, procedure, or product. So this is a definition given by A.Z. Nitko in the year 1983. So it is said that summative assessment is the judgment about the merits of an already completed program, procedure, or product. So this assessment is done only after completing a particular program, procedure, or product. And another definition given by N.E. Gronlund in the year 1985. So summative assessment typically comes at the end of a course of instruction, and it is designed to determine the extent the educational objectives have been achieved, and is used primarily for assigning course grades or certifying pupil mastery of the intended learning outcomes. So summative assessment is done only at the end of an educational program, and this is mainly to grade the student, like whether the student is getting first rank, second rank, or whether the student get first division, second division, so for the purpose of grading. Purposes of summative assessment. The first is to find out the extent to which the instructional objectives have been achieved, usually at the end of a terminal period. So every like teaching or every instruction has its own objectives, like at the end of that particular teaching, what the student is supposed to learn from that particular teaching. So summative assessment is done to find out the extent to which the instructional objectives have been achieved. And next is to assign course grade or certify the student mastery. Difference between formative and summative assessment. Formative assessment is an ongoing assessment of the student's achievement while the instructional course or the program is in progress. Summative assessment. Summative assessment is the final assessment of the student's achievement at the end of the course or the program. I hope these are all self-explanatory. And next, formative assessment is to monitor the progress of students and provide feedback for improvement while the instructions are in progress. Whereas summative assessment is to finally assign the grades or pass-fail status in a particular educational module or program. Formative assessment is carried out quite frequently, ranging from daily to weekly, while instruction are in progress. Whereas summative assessment are carried out biannually, annually, or